you doing? Good. So good to be here and to be sharing some thoughts with you today around the topic wonder. But I do just want to give honour to Phoebe and her wonderful team. We've got Emily, we've got Morgan, we've got Jade. I think Blake helps as well. Thank you so much, guys. Would we just give them a hand? It is just amazing that they took the initiative, first and foremost, to say, hey, we need something like this in Toowoomba, and then did something about it. So as Phoebe has just said, if you feel like you want to get involved in that, please come and talk to them and say, hey, how can I help? What can I do? What can I offer? I think it's a great thing to get involved in. So, wonder. What are the things that echo in your soul, that elevate your heartbeat, illuminate your spirit, draw your eyes wide, and drive you beyond needs and musts to a world of wonder? What stirs within your being, perhaps untouched and unrefined, like gold within the ore waiting to be unearthed? I think we often think of wonder in the extraordinary, in the 7 great wonders of the world, in galaxies of twinkling stars and orbiting planets, in the birth of a newborn life, or even in technology that mimics our intelligence. We think of wonder in the mysteries unexplainable, the things untamable, in unmet questions and undiscovered lands. You know, I've found wonder a little bit difficult to put into words and to kind of construct into something tangible, of which I'm going to try my best today. But inevitably, this conversation is about inspiration. What inspires you? 2 things I want to start by saying. 1, this is a conversation. This space is about conversation. It's about connecting and engaging with each other. So if you like something that you're hearing, or if it connects with you, let me know. You know, feel free to chat back or, interact. I grew up in church, so, you know, you're not going to offend me if you say if you like amen sisters or preach it girlfriends or, you know, whatever you want to do. And also, I'm going to hopefully provoke some thoughts. So if you want to take notes, please take notes, some things that you can take away from today. That is my heart, is that you don't just have this great talk, but that you actually take something away from this. So one of the things that happens when we engage with something, we actually get more out of it. So when we lean in, we glean from. So let's get the most out of this 20 minutes together and really be the encouraging, engaging community that we are and treat this as the conversation it is. So that's first thing. Second thing, Amy actually last month at our Creative Mornings, she spoke and it was amazing. So you can watch her back online. But one of the things that she said actually really resounded with me. And she says, I don't want to inspire you today. And for a second I was like, what? Wait, huh? I don't want to inspire you today. But then she said, because inspiration is often a fleeting feeling that soon ends there. Wow. And then doesn't, I'm paraphrasing, but doesn't then have any effect in your life. And I really took that away from the last time. As a songwriter, I often get asked, and you may have had this before as well, but what inspired you to create that, for me, song? Which, can I be like really honest here? Kind of bugs me sometimes. I've noticed, perhaps maybe in the creative industries more so than others, but inspiration has become this buzzword. And with it, this idea that if I can't find my wow or my wonder moment, then I can't write, perform, shoot, or just simply show up. And I'll be the first to admit that the inspiration story is the interesting bit. It's the fun part to talk about. Nobody wants to hear that, frankly, like every other job, it just takes hard work and perseverance and just sticking it through sometimes. So yes, this topic is about wonder. It is about hopefully finding some things that inspire us. And I'm going to talk about that quite a lot. But it's also about finding some practical things that we can walk away with that translates into who we are and therefore what we create and what we do. There is wonder along the way. As I said before, we think of wonder as the extraordinary, the amazing, the awesome, the never been seen before. But I don't know about you, I want to find wonder in the ordinary again. the extraordinary in the ordinary. This is a picture, or pictures of my son. He is 1.5 years, or just over 1.5 years old, of pure joy. And honestly, it has been so amazing watching him explore the world around us and his language and, you know, his ability to do things. I tried to capture him here the other day in our lounge room with his dressing gown on, face full of wonder. This one kind of catches a little bit. His eyes, when he has this moment of wonder, his eyes draw wide and his, you know, eyebrows go really high and he goes, like that. And it's the cutest thing. And, you know, it's just at the simple little things. It's the ordinary things, like, you know, the sound of an elephant or a truck going by, or, you know, his grandma and grandpa turning up. And it made me think, when did we lose our wonder? In the little and the ordinary things, in the things that we overlook all the time. And sometimes even in the things that society would deem less than beautiful. Can we find our wonder again today? There is wonder along the way. There it is. Along the way, the road that we wander day by day. And for some, that road could be littered with beautiful houses and autumn leaves falling from London plane trees like they do here on our beautiful streets of Toowoomba. For others, our road could be windy and uphill most of the way. Some may walk with hundreds of people and others walk mostly alone. But we are all much the same in that no matter what is along our way or who is along our way or how difficult it may be, we're all on an ordinary old road. And I believe we can all find wonder there. In the hum of the drum, as much as the high of the heights, in our musings and our doings, in our process and our pain, in our everyday, there is wonder along the way. I was reading this book. I've read it a number of times. It is called The Artisan Soul by Raphael McManus. And what a name, hey? And it talks about and to creatives and creative people. And I want to ask, here's your moment to engage people. I want to ask, how many of you would see yourself as creatives? Raise of hands. Awesome. Well, of course it begs the question, doesn't it? What do you consider a creative or a creative person? I mentioned before that I'm a songwriter, but what I didn't say is that I actually find it quite hard to call myself a songwriter. Do I write songs? Yes, so technically I am a songwriter. But I find it hard because, you know, I'm not necessarily writing songs all the time. I haven't put an album out in 5 years, and even so, that was really dodgy. I'm not singing my originals in venues every single week. And so, yes, I know there are excuses, but I find it hard to call myself a songwriter. Singer, on the other hand, I have no problem with at all. I specialised in singing at uni. It's my main form of income now. I'm a professional singer and I'm a singing teacher. Somewhere along the way, I think we've adopted this notion that creatives are a certain select group of people who create things worth recognition. We're often tentative or hesitant. Who was that this morning? When asked if we're a creative. As if it's this unattainable status reserved for those who've made it their income or their study, or someone who fits in the category of creative industries. And while I don't personally think that there's anything wrong with specifying certain art forms in creative industries, it does beg the question, does that mean that you can't be creative as a Woolies worker, a baker, an optometrist, a business person, a parent, or whatever your job may be? To that, of course, we would all likely say, no, of course you can be creative. Hey, babe. Which means when I ask who considers themselves a creative, we should all be able to say, yes, me, I consider myself a creative. Maybe I don't work in the creative industries as such, but I know I can be creative. And I've noticed our culture ascribes value to what we do and how much we do. But when was our identity ever meant to be in what we do? Or may I go one further, what we are paid to do? Beyond our job or what we do on a daily basis, I believe creativity is inherent. It's at the core of what it is to be human. You only have to look at a child, my beautiful son here, to know that wonder is intrinsic. That creativity is a position not so much of doing, but of being. Hold that thought. If we're to find wonder along the way, literally in our everyday lives and ordinary moments, then a part of that is actually finding wonder again in what we do, wonder in our work. Not just surviving or even succeeding, but giving creative life to each movement, just like an artist painting stroke by stroke the canvas of our lives. To steal a moment in this book that I just mentioned before, I want to reflect Erwin's musings on the matter with his question. Have you ever been around a person who has chosen to truly engage with a job, investing all of their creative potential against the backdrop of all of those who are simply doing a good job to make it through the day? He talks encounters with teachers and dentists who saw their job as the context of their creativity, who were moved with and by and through their work, and in doing so, whether intentional or not, invoked wonder in him and caused him to respond in kind with his best wonder work. For some of us, our job may not be our first preference. I know there's probably a few of us in the room that can say that, but I believe we can find wonder in whatever work we do. How amazing would it be to love the job we work, or create the opportunity to work a job we love and therefore never work a day? I know for me, I find wonder in my work by adding value to others in these contexts, but also in my singing teaching, my coaching. It's amazing to see the wonder on a student's face when they discover something new, or when they've been working so hard at something and finally get it. And I know for me, like, seeing their joy and their excitement in getting it helps me to remember the first time and relive the times that I experienced that and I finally got that thing. For me, it's just become the normal. It's become what I do every day, and I've forgotten the joy it is again in my work. And so let's remember the joy. Let's remember the joy in the little things in our work, the things that we've taken for granted. Let's find wonder along the way by finding wonder in our work. That is definitely easier said than done. So let's go a little bit deeper into this. I mentioned that I'm a singer, and Phoebe mentioned it as well. So basically that means that I have a song for every moment, and this one included. There's this song that goes like this. I see the world in light, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in life, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. Ooh, I see the world in life, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in life, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. Ooh, I'm walking in the wonder. Thanks for singing with me. How good is that? I love seeing light as a metaphor for wonder. Light allows us to see in ways that we couldn't before. It adjusts our perspective. It allows our brains to calculate dimensions, our senses to distinguish space, and our vision to absorb colour. Wonder, like light, illuminates the colour in our world, the wonder in our world. I like to see it as a rainbow banner over each day. Here's an exercise in wonder. When was the last time you chased a rainbow? When was the first time that you chased a rainbow and you realised what happens? What? It moves away? I keep running towards it and the rainbow keeps moving as well. I'm never going to get that gold at the end. Have you ever turned around to chase the sun with the rainbow behind you? What happens? We chase the rainbow and it moves further away. We chase the sun, the source of light, and the rainbow will follow. What is your light? What are the things that give you vision to see colour again in your world? What instills purpose in you? What speaks to your identity as a person, as a creative, which in case you immediately and habitually ruled yourself out of that, that includes you. What is the fire, your passion that keeps you up late at night? In my case, not just your child. What makes your senses lose time, what makes you lose sense of time and space? My main source of light is my relationship and my faith in a God who brings love and direction and peace and purpose to my life. There are other lights as well. My husband, my family and close friends, in making music and melodies and spending time learning with my son, learning how to wonder again. For you, it could be your nationality or your culture. It could be a sports club, a gym, or a community like this. It could be a charity or a cause. Or like me, it could be your creative outlet or your work that can at different times both fuel you and drain you, which we need to be aware of. And then what switches that light on in you? Signing up to be a volunteer, being generous with your time and money, taking some classes, reading. What's a catalyst for those light sources in your life? And how can you wander in the light more frequently? Where can you find wonder in your world? Environments invoke wonder in us. Winding between the eucalyptines and sunstreaks on a little worn trail, huddled in a humming laneway coffee hub on a crisp morning. Solitude in a hand-me-down wing-backed chair corner. What's your wonder spot? People can draw the inspiration in us and imagination in us. The gold from your soul, the unlimited, unfiltered dreams and ideas as you chew away the hours. What can you do to make more time with them or more often? What about the work of others that sparks something in you? A divinely plated meal, an impeccably organised home, an ingeniously crafted poem, line upon line of planted crop, an athlete in precise action, a compassionate word of a counsellor. How can you position yourself to find wonder in your world? To encounter more of these environments, people, and work? Can you create some margin in your schedule or just simply be present in whatever moments arise to wander in the wonder? As our lives get busier, we tend to streamline our schedules and our relationships become so much more efficient. We want to know what will happen and when it will happen and what will happen next. But extraordinary things occur if we make room for the unexpected. Who's into podcasts or books here? Yeah, so many of us. I've listened to so many productivity podcasts and books lately, and pretty much all of them recommend leaving room for the unexpected, ruling the margin in your calendar. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like taking even 10 minutes out of my day to meditate, for example, or whatever it might be for you, feels counterproductive. It sometimes doesn't seem as urgent as that email that just popped up on my screen. But most specialists in this area agree, and the science is fairly clear. When we take moments out to simply be, enjoy, refresh, and refill our tanks, we work 100 times better. And let's just hit this thought on the head again. We become better. Have you left margin in your calendar for wonder? There is no end of wonder in this world, so this could seem overwhelming. But what are one or two things in your world, you could take notes in this moment, what are one or two things in your world you can go to that most times bring you a sense of intrigue, calm, or clarity? Start there. Create the time and space to chase the light, and the rainbow will follow. I did a PD with Pat Patterson at the very start of this year. He's a songwriting expert, in fact, the songwriting expert in the world. He's from Berklee College of Music, literally wrote the book on songwriting. Wow. And he came over and did this PD at the very beginning of the year, and it was a full week-long intensive. And before kind of delving into all of the technical aspects of, lyric and rhyme and rhythm and all of those things, he prescribes this very simple exercise. Pick one ordinary object, and for a set 10 minutes at the beginning of every day, write about that object using all of your senses. As soon as the timer goes off, 10 minutes on the dot, stop Even if you're mid-sentence, which I hate, even if you're mid-sentence, stop writing. And while your writing stops there, you end up with this, like, random paragraph of scribble. Your songwriting brain, or your wonder brain, is switched on now throughout the whole rest of your day. That unfinished sentence bugs you. This exercise is simply a practical discipline of becoming more aware of the world around you, of becoming fully immersed in your senses. Is there something like this that you could do for a mere 10 minutes a day? Why 10 minutes? Because it's achievable. Because I can wake up 10 minutes earlier, even if I'd had a rough night of, no sleep, or if I'm crazy busy, I can make 10 minutes. I can do 10 minutes. I can put the discipline of finding wonder and getting my wonder brain on every morning. Here's my point. It doesn't have to take a tragic story, an amazing feat, a special moment, a perfectly aligned schedule, set of skills, or picturesque scene to find the wonder every single day. To be honest, it doesn't even necessarily have to be the thing that you just identified normally brings you wonder, even though we know it helps. And it doesn't necessarily have to take hours on end or so much resource and energy that it's just draining. It takes small, regular moments to take stock of what extraordinary is in the ordinary. The sound of a pen clicking, the smell of smoke from a winter wood heater, the texture of a linen curtain. Instead of waiting for the inspiration, we seek out the inspiration. We stop making excuses that we can't create until fill in the blank. We begin wherever we are, with whatever we have, whatever is in front of us, and then we do what we can as often as we can. There is wonder in our world. We've talked a lot about different ways that we can position ourselves to find wonder in the external, environments, people, work, the small things. But here's the tension. How does that inspiration transform our work, our creativity, and what we do? This is the thought that you've been holding on to the entire time. When we allow the inspiration to produce transformation within, in who we are and are becoming. After all, we are creative beings. So it's an internal deal. Wonder within. There is a well-known statement. As we think, so we are. As we dream, so we become. And if there's some small ways that we can allow the light of wonder to infiltrate and transform our being, it would be to incubate inspiration in imagination, to renew and refresh our thinking, to take the seed of wonder and germinate it, magnify its qualities, meditate on it, allow the borders of our mind to be expanded, to dream a little, even begin to plan, review, and then be grateful. For me, I do this through journaling. In that space of reflection, I distinguish between the things that will serve me and my vision from the things that won't. I allow the light to expose the dark spots of fears and insecurities and limiting thoughts, and then to shine on a new perspective, restoring my soul with ideas of new realities and creations. I construct my world first from within, in my imagination. And I think as we do this soul work, our wonder work will follow. Yes, it still takes hard work and skill and resource and so on, and we're going to take a whole nother day to talk about that. But we will have done the biggest job of convincing ourselves that we have what it takes within us first. As we chase the light and let the light infiltrate our being, the rainbow will follow. We'll find color not just in our work or our creativity, but in our world, in our relationships, in our social media feeds, in our homes, in the little things. And most importantly, within. The wonder in our work, wonder in our world, wonder within. That's the wonder along the way. So, wonder in the wonder. To finish off today, we're actually going to do a little something different. We're going to do a little exercise, and we're going to take 1 minute to think on this question. I want you guys to walk away with something that you can actually have handles on and something you can do. What can you do to find the wonder along the way in your work, in your world, or within?